Hello people, so today we are going to be doing our art lesson on a request which was from Rahani. She wanted to know how to draw animals, so we're going to approach it from a cartoon animal because they're easier. One thing that we're always going to be harping back to is that shape. So when we were drawing the bodies last week, and even when we were doing the zooming in activity, we were looking at shape of things. So even though you were looking at a leaf or a flower, you knew what shape it was, you zoom in closer, you can break it into different components. You can break it into colors, you can break it into line, you can break it into shape, all sorts of things. So doing cartoon characters, we are breaking things into shapes that we know: triangles, circles, ovals, rectangles, and then we're, as I said last week, we're editing those things. So today we're going to learn how to draw a cat and a dog, because I figure if you want to start drawing your pets, this would be a good fun way to start doing it. Okay, so today's activity, drawing animals, we'll need a pencil, of course, and a rubber, and of course some paper. I'm just using an old sketchbook that was my kids', but you can use A4 or whatever you like. The pencil that I'm using today is actually a 2B pencil, but I'm using this one because it's a slight bit darker than a normal HB pencil that you would write with. What does 2B HB mean? Well, it means the blackness. So B stands for blackness. So a 2B pencil is slightly darker than an HB pencil, but then this is an 8B pencil and it's even darker. So if I did a bit of a scribble, you could see how dark it is. This one is lighter. So it refers to how dark the pencil is. So the first activity that we're going to do, I'm going to get rid of these ones, hang on a sec, okay, is we're drawing a cartoon cat. I'll show you the finished product. So the first thing that you need to do is draw an oval. So there we go. It's kind of like an egg shape, but we're even on the same side. Now again, remember what I said about not being totally certain. Even the best cartoonists add and change and rub out. So start with that. The next thing that we're going to do is kind of add a little kind of a semi-oval. So I've got the curved sides, but almost like a rectangle here. Can you tell which parts these are going to be? Then here I'm going to draw like a little Y shape. And already you can see our cat forming onto what it's going to be. And then here, it's almost like I'm doing an N, like that, okay? So what do you think they are? All right, so there we have our basic shape of what the cat is going to look like. Oop, and I'll adjust that. Again, you don't have to rush through this. Change it, adjust it. You can see that this one's bigger than that one. I'll just change it, adjust it, rub it out. I'm going to rub out the other bits later. Okay, the next part we talked about was dividing the face up. And now we did this when we did people briefly. So you always divide the face up, and these marks that you'll rub out eventually. On a cat, on this cat cartoon in particular, the cross line where we're going to put the eyes is much lower than you would do it on a human figure. If you were doing a human face, we do down the middle and we do straight across, okay, almost exactly in the middle. But on this particular one, it's going to be a little bit lower, okay. On that line, we're going to do our button eyes. So here we go. We'll just do one circle. Now notice we're using lots of different shapes here. N, Y, almost a rectangle, ovally type of shape. And now we're coming back and doing a circle. So they've got to be sitting on the line and even space from the middle line. What do you think is going to go? I'm going to colour them in a bit now, but you can do that later. What do you think is going to go exactly on that bit? Yep, you're exactly right. It's a little nose. Now I'm doing an upside down triangle on my little nose, and we do a little mouth like so, like a little pussycat mouth. Okay, and that's kind of, I don't know, little fish hooks going one way and the other. So there we go. We can add eyebrows like that to make it a little bit fun. And what do you think the ears are going to be? Right, so yeah, the ears. Now the ears are kind of interesting. You'd expect that the ears would be up here. We could do that, but a better way to actually do the ears, I'm going to rub that out now, I'm trying not to bump the camera, is coming from the side. So the side of the ear actually goes up like this, and this other side of the ear comes that way. So now you can see that the ears are actually pointing in that direction. So they're not straight up and down, but they're definitely a triangle shape. So let's do that on the opposite side. So straight up from the side, about the same height, and then a triangle pointing kind of out that way. Of course, we need little ear holes like so. And then, of course, we're missing something in particular, aren't we? What are we missing? A tail. Now, how's the tail going to be? Is it going to be fluffy or is it going to be thin? I'm not liking the end of that. I'm going to rub that out. See, I can change this all I like. I'm going to change his tail. It's going to be like so. It's going to be quite a long tail, and it basically comes out from the side of his leg, and that looks completely normal. Now, what else do cats have? They have whiskers. Now, you could do tiny little whiskers like this, or alternatively, you could do big long whiskers like that. They generally have 3. Oh, I'm doing it around the camera, so mine is a bit wiggly. Here's my rubber again, and we'll do it like that. So you can choose which one that you like. Personally, I like the long ones, so I'm going to do the long ones on this side here. All right, and adjust them a bit. So we can colour in the eyes. Maybe you wanted to do your pattern on here. So this is where we put the, if you wanted to put a line in, we can change this so his feet are a little bit more cute. You can put little paw marks. You only need 2 little lines in there to make it into a little paw. And there you have your first cartoon cat. So then you go through, if you want to, this is where you colour it and rub these construction lines out. So doing a good picture means you often put construction lines in, and you could go over it in pencil. I'm going to colour it and I'll show you the finished product. So I've coloured my cats. I ended up doing 2 because I wanted to show you differences in colouring with texture and colouring with pencil. So in both examples, I've gone over the outline with a black texture or felt tip, which I think makes everything stand out. But I want to show you some differences that I've done on this. Now you can see with the texture, it's like a lovely lush brown colour, but you've got your streaky lines, and yeah, it's easy to, if you make a mistake, then it's harder to fix up. Also with the eyes, I wanted to show you the difference with the eyes. So in this one, I coloured the eyes fully in, which is kind of a bit Hello Kitty, and I don't know if you know that. It looks very dark and manga kind of, but this is more manga style. So manga is a type of Japanese artwork that specialises in cartoons. We'll look at that a bit later. But yeah, in this one I've used pencil, and I actually prefer this one because it just brings out the expression. You also notice too that when I've coloured in the eyes with the black felt tip, I haven't done the middle. So that's kind of almost creating a reflection, or like the eyeball. And it makes it look as though the cat has more personality. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about that I didn't in the other one was the whiskers. Now the whiskers they don't go out straight out like so. Can't see it on that one. They don't go like that. They have a bit of character to them. They kind of flop down. So yeah, it gives them a bit more personality. And obviously all these things are exaggerated. So the head wouldn't be that big on the cat. You know, the whiskers wouldn't be that big on a cat. But it just gives it more personality and gives it style. So experiment with the cat one, and the next one that we'll do is a dog. Okay? Okay, we've done the cat. Now we're going to do a dog. I've done a little practice run of the doggy that we're going to do. That's what she's looking like. She's a little bit of a begging dog. I've changed a few things that on mine to make it look more like my dog, but you might want to add features like long ears if you have a dog or that has particular shapes of ears. The website or the YouTube video that I got this from, of which I'm basing my lesson, is by a guy called Christopher Hart. Hart, spelled like that. That's an A. Okay, so Christopher Hart has a huge selection of videos online which are really, really good, and I actually got my ideas from him. Okay, let me just stabilize my phone with the piece of blue tack that I've got holding it together. All right, so the first thing that we do, to get myself comfortable, is we start out with a circle. So that's a rough kind of circle. That's going to be his head. Then we do a little bit of a neck like we'd normally do on like a cat or a person. And then on a dog, his back kind of curves down like this. So it kind of curves in. And then we'll come back to that later. And then we do the front. So it comes out in his chest and then his foot comes down. Now, you need to kind of make your own, like you're sitting on the floor, so you keep those things level. And then with his foot, it kind of comes down in a little rectangle and almost not a hook, but like a little curvy shape, almost, well, like a paw. So we do a construction line here, which is like the nice curve, so that this elbow part of his foot comes down and curves. So you get that nice shape coming down from there. Then with his back leg comes over and almost in a 6 shape, and it goes over the front legs. So you can see this lovely 6 shape. So that's his hind leg. And then he has his foot sitting down like that, which is like a straight line and almost a triangle shape. His tail, depends what kind of dog you have. It mightn't have a tail, or maybe it has, like my dog has, a kind of a long tail that's got a tip on the end like this. Mine actually has a tip, but we'll draw those details in later. Maybe it's got a fluffy tail, like so it's got fluff down there, but you can draw that in. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is his begging foot. So that comes from the same place as this foot, because the foot isn't going to start up here, because that's not where the dog's shoulder is. Its dog's shoulder is down there. Actually, we might move it up a bit. So in this case, it comes out, but you won't see the whole leg, but you'll just see a tiny bit of his elbow coming up and then flopping down like that. Now, be careful not to make it too long. You don't want a dog with a ridiculously long leg. You want it about the same length as this one if it was bent. Okay, and do a little paw. Change that around. That's distracting me, that line. So we want to make sure it's a good length. Again, don't worry about being rough. You rub it all out, you rub these lines out, and then your constructions. Even that, I'm thinking is probably a bit too long, so I'm going to make it shorter here. Change that. Yeah, okay, that's better. Now, face. Same as we normally do, we put the construction lines in, but because this is a side view of a dog, you do construction line like this. Okay, now because the dog is begging, it's going to be looking up, so the dog's nose needs to be pretty much the top of that line. Now you might have a kind of a snub-nosed dog, or you might have a long-nosed dog, but it's kind of got this shape that's almost a triangle. It comes down to the bottom of the circle here, and so you've got this almost straight line going on your construction lines and then sloping down to here. Now, your eye for this dog, again, he's looking up, so it's only one eye because you're only seeing it as a side view. Now, we can do a circle, but when you colour in the eye, make sure that you colour it in like that so he's looking up. Ears. Now, my dog has pointy ears, so my ears are going to, like the cat, come up from the side and down like that so that the ear is pointing that way. Okay, but we might give it a bit more form, a bit more shape. That was a bit too triangly. You're only going to be seeing one ear because the other ear is on the other side of the head. So you're just putting a slightly smaller triangle there. But maybe you have a dog that has long ears, which is equally cute. Okay, but always make sure that it's hanging down. All right, rub that out because that's not what my dog's going to look like. Okay. There we go. Now, the back of the head, because he's looking up, it actually is exaggerated. So you make that a little bit bigger. I'm changing the neck a little bit. Okay, now you can start to put in the details for the rest of the dog. So I'm going to round his nose off a bit, colour it in, put some freckles in there. I'm going to, just reshape that. Maybe you want to put a collar in so the dog has a collar on. I'm going to rub out this bit because I don't need that anymore. Still not happy with that leg. That's a bit of a tricky one to do, but we'll work with it and play with and see what we can get. Okay, rub that line out, and there we go. You have a dog. So go ahead and colour it and show me what you've got. As usual, I'll go ahead and colour these and show you the finished product. But as usual, can you upload these and I'll make them into a gallery that you can put on, we can put on Facebook and on the classroom stream. Okay, have fun doing your dog. Bye. Right, so here are my two puppies. The one that I did first up as my practice and the one that I did second with you guys. Now, I'd just like to say that I actually prefer the first one I did just because I've made her darker and yeah, there's a few things that I like about her a bit more. Just the shape of her nose. When you're drawing over with the black outline, remember to erase, you made a circle there to make the head, erase that line and don't draw around that. Same with the tail, I did it on that one, but because my dog is black, it doesn't really matter, I can't see it, but you can see on this one over here that, yeah, when I drew with the black outline, I didn't draw in that little bit near the tail for the 6 that makes the leg. Yeah, that's it. You can put more whiskers on, you can add colours, you can change the nose so it's like a shorter nose. There's all sorts of things that you can do to make your dog. Yeah, the heads on this one's all wrong, but I'm sure, I know that Chinta, who is loving these videos, thank you Chinta, you can show me something much better than this, I bet. All right, okay, I'm just the guide. Off you go.